Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of Playing with House Money on the Toilets to Titles Network. I am Iceman at Iceman_1013 on Twitter. Not is this just fantasy football anymore? Little change. And this is my co-host, DJ at PruBaby10, the self-proclaimed live bet king. How are we doing today, my man?
We're doing great. Another week. Happy to be here. And another week to closer to the holiday and hopefully a break for these guys. We are overdue in the MLB for some rest. Had not the hottest week, but not a losing week.
We had that's the important part, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's all that matters, right? We had a plus 790 four-legger hit late last week. I want to say it was Thursday. And then went right into the weekend on Friday with a plus 1200. Another four-legger. We had a couple live bets too in the Angels game that night as well as Saturday. I actually hit 2 doubles live bets with Rengifo and can't remember the other guy, somebody on Boston, I believe. And yeah, just some small stuff, but kept it moving. You know, got to be. Been going to war with these damn books lately. It seems live bets have been kind of where it's at for a lot of the stuff. But yeah, I mean it's been an all out battle. But you know, those are the times that separate the big dogs from the small ones. So
yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, we like you said, we started that like rolling into the weekend, plus 800 on a Thursday, plus 1200 on a Friday. The Saturday morning, early morning game in London. I know you were still in bed when it started, but I posted the Ian Happ home run. You know, we boosted that from 500 to plus 625 with the 25% boost on FanDuel. That hit like first at bat. It's like thought this was going to be a great weekend. Like it was setting itself up, you know, to be a huge one. And then, like you say, everything else kind of just didn't go in our favor, and the live bets kept us afloat. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't certainly from the. I mean, I don't think I won. Nothing on the soccer side on Saturday went my way at all. In fact, to be completely transparent, probably one of the worst bets I've ever placed in my life for how close I just completely was not. You know, it's one of those where you pick like 3 teams, and fortunately it was only 3 teams, all to score 2 goals, and they lost 4-0, 3-0, and 4-0. So it wasn't even close. You know what I mean? And I just looked at it halfway through, and I'm like, and it was after 2 games. I just put in the chat for everyone. I was like, well, I'm just going to completely fade myself and take Austin at home to Houston in the late game of the 3. Houston over 1.5 first half goals, and that rolled in. That was like plus 550. But it was just one of those weekends where, you know, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, Sunday, absolutely everything just kind of just what we thought, or what I thought, certainly from the soccer side, was just completely tipped on its head. But you know, it was ended up being a minus. I think over the weekend it was minus 3.5 units for me. But you know, that Hap winner, it could have been a bit worse. But we're still up on the month. You know, month.
Oh yeah.
Since episode 1, yeah, I'm still comfortably over plus 30 units on the month. So
yeah, for sure, it's definitely been a solid month. It's just we had it was in the MLB. It wasn't like we had like complete tank jobs, but we had a lot of the tough ones where it was like 1 loss leg. I think Saturday we had 4 1 leg losses.
Yeah.
So that's a lot harder. I feel like the blowouts where it's just okay, this is completely just tanked. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier to just be like, okay, just scrap it. The 1 leg losses were tough, especially because you see guys you wouldn't typically play just go off, just completely off, and then it's like, trying to make these reads on the stars and who you're running with, and you try to pick a few guys that you like and stuff like that, and just try to keep it consistent. But right now, man, it's a toss up in the MLB. It's one of those things where I'm literally trying to stay with who's hot, and then just hope that I don't get caught with that when that guy just goes cold. Earlier this week, we had Anthony Santander do that. I think he went 3 days straight with a home run, and then the one night we end up taking him last leg to cash, and he just 0 for 4, just horrible game. So it's one of those things where you want to ride the hot hand, but you don't want to also expect these guys to go 4 or 5 days in a row with multiple bases, multiple hits, stuff like that. So it's been a lot of wars. We're going to battle with the live bets for sure.
And I think that's one of the big things, right? Like we do this consistently. We know that the losses are part of it. And the same as it's the same as everything, right? Like they've knocked us down this weekend, but episode 4 is titled "On to the next one" because we roll on. We take our few losses, we roll on onto next weekend, and we know that we're gonna trust the process, and we'll be back.
Yes, sir.
But you guys, you can find all of our content at toiletstotitles.com, especially on the fantasy football side as we roll towards preseason, summer camps and all that getting into full swing. Any mock drafts, any player rankings, all of our episodes at toiletstotitles.com. If you're watching on YouTube, then make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, throw some comments in, any questions that you have. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review. That would be lovely. I mean, you don't have to. If you don't think we're 5 stars, then just don't review us.
Yeah, if it's not 5 stars, don't do it at all, please.
And if you want to interact with the team and beyond DJ and I, if you want to interact with the rest of the Toilets to Titles team, like I said about NFL, college football, fantasy football, reach out to either of us or Coach Sheps on Twitter and get into the Toilets to Titles Gilded chat. It's really starting to heat up in there as we, like I say, as we get closer to closing out some of these big fantasy leagues that we're playing in this year. We're getting closer to draft time, so hit us up if you want to get in there. And like I said, we've got our own little area of the chat in there for playing with house money. We've had some winners in there recently as well, which is always good.
Yeah, we had a nice one actually the other day. I forgot about that. Yeah, and I mean, and we're the cool crew anyway. So like, you guys don't have to lie to us and say, oh yeah, we're interested in the rest of the T2T team. I wouldn't take it offensively if you told us you just wanted to come kick it with us. I would understand.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to. Like even the T2T guys are.
Exactly.
Anyway, my man, what have we got? You said something about this weekend's MLB games.
Man, it's a weird one. So holidays always kind of, throw a few wrenches into the plans. I know some teams, especially, the superstars, the guys that are, at the top of their division, stuff like that. Some of these games are going to be the games their managers take advantage of, rest days, scheduling, just in general. And then also you'll see some of the premier matchups, but typically like right before the holiday, it's not as common. You typically want to have your star-studded matchups like on the holiday because people are off work, they're going to watch stuff like that. So these weekend series, don't get me wrong, aren't bad. They're definitely have some potential, but they're not going to be your 1 and 2 against each other. So this weekend, I have 3 series I'm looking at. Starting today, it is the Texas Rangers against the Houston Astros. We have a little Texas showdown. Houston has been pretty solid. They're putting up a decent amount of runs, but their pitching has also been kind of hit or miss. They're getting strikeouts, but they're also giving up hits. They're also, they're having 7-8 run games where, these games are ending 8-6 a lot for the Houston Astros. So I really think 2 star-studded lineups like that with not premier primetime pitching. Don't get me wrong, Houston has a few guys that are damn good, but I think that's going to be one of those matchups where Friday, Saturday, Sunday we could see. I wouldn't doubt 2 of those games in that series go pretty high.
I was going to say, so we're taking the overs, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. For sure, Sunday. I'd like to see what pitchers they do cement in the schedule, especially with how the weekend's going to fall and then the travel after that weekend series. A lot of these guys are going to travel right after that Sunday game, right into their next series for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's going to be, you'll definitely need to pay attention to that. Always wait for lineups, always see who's starting. ESPN will tell you who they expect to start, like in that pitching rotation, but it's not always correct. So that's definitely the main one. And then we got the Phillies and Nationals. If anybody has, been watching or is, a part of the group in general, I like betting on the Washington Nationals. They're not a team that you would think just has a ton of betting potential, but their 1 through 5 is very fun. And when they're hot, they're really, really good at the plate. And then the Phillies are a team I don't really enjoy betting on because I never really know who's going to do it. But as of lately, Castellanos has been really good. Schwarber actually has been way better than he usually is. I guess it's not really that big of a high of a bar to set, but he's not having 0 for 4 like 4 or 5 games in a row anymore. I think I actually saw him double the other day. I almost fell out of my chair when I saw that. So that's going to be a matchup I definitely think has some potential. I won't go crazy with a bunch of legs in there, but I'll definitely be decisive on the few guys that are hot going into the weekend and take them for, either the hit run RBI prop on DraftKings or total bases. And I'll mix it up a little bit with that, but definitely going to be decisive with that game, as decisive as possible. And then we got the Boston Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto's been giving up a ton of runs, point blank period. If Gausman isn't out, even when Gausman's on the mound, but even when he's not, if Toronto doesn't put up 5, 6, 7 runs, they're not going to win. And that lineup, I've noticed that all of them are either bad or good. Like you either get all of them good and get multiple hits, or you get like everybody besides Bo is 0 for 4. So it's just weird. But so that's another one where you have to be decisive. The Red Sox are another team like that where, Adam Duvall and Rafael Devers decide that they just won't be getting hits this series and stuff like that. So definitely going to be decisive on the few guys, but those 3 series are probably the things I'm looking most forward to this weekend. A lot of the other ones are kind of weird. I mean, they're just not. There's not a ton of value in there for the things we're going to have to kind of claw for. So definitely a lot of potential though, and I'm on a revenge tour, so I'm out for blood all weekend on the books. So they better come prepared.
But that's the thing, right? Like what we're also here, what we can take from that, those of us that are not huge baseball fans and certainly haven't been watching it for years like yourself, when you're saying this kind of stuff is like, hey, like we said it last week, you don't have to bet on every game.
Oh yeah, no,
like and if there are a lot of games, and especially with it being a holiday weekend and it being a long holiday weekend, like most places like have Monday and Tuesday off work. So like you said, if you've got back-to-back series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and some teams are going straight into a Monday, Tuesday, then you don't have to bet all of them. You have to blow through your bankroll on Friday afternoon, Saturday, when we know that we have still got 3 full days of baseball to come. So
yeah. And with that being said, it's good that you mentioned that as well. I didn't think about mentioning the time that these games would be going. Tuesday's games are more than likely going to be scheduled out like a Saturday or a Sunday. You're going to have a lot of games early in the day. And I've come out and said to, buddies of mine, I know I've said it to you before, like that London game on Saturday. I don't like irregularly scheduled games.
Mm-hmm.
It just never goes well. These guys are human. They need rest. They're playing so many games back to back. The stars are not getting rest how you would think. Like Wednesday, you got Seattle and Washington played Wednesday after they just played at 9 p.m. Tuesday. And it's like, how can you expect these guys to come out here and just put on a star-studded show and they're gassed? So it's one of those things where, you don't want to bet
they
on the
get
game.
paid millions of dollars to do this.
Yeah, but hey, you're paying for the talent.
Yeah, I think it's a valid point. Like I do always say that. I always said about professional sportsmen, like, hey, you're living the dream, right? Like you're living most dreams. Like I dreamed of being a professional sportsman when I was a kid. And yeah, I mean, if I was getting paid millions of dollars, I mean, you could pay me any money to play sport on a regular, and I wouldn't complain about it. But your point is valid. Like if they what would have been a 9 o'clock start on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So they're finishing at close to midnight.
Yeah.
And then they've had a 4 p.m. start on Wednesday?
4 p.m. Eastern. So and they're in Seattle. I think they were in Seattle. For that series.
Yeah.
So Pacific time. So they're 1 p.m. They're at 1 p.m. I mean, they just got done at 9. They probably didn't even make it to their hotels until 10:30.
Yeah. And they're back out and playing at 1. Yeah. And that's where baseball is different. Like as you know, like I grew up with soccer, and you're playing once a week. Like you're training every day, but you're playing on a Saturday afternoon, and sometimes you might have a Sunday afternoon game. And then sometimes throughout the season, you're playing midweek, either on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. If you're playing for one of the top teams and you're playing European football, it's either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. But the fixtures are always spaced out. So if you play on the Tuesday night, there's no way you're playing the Sunday afternoon game and then playing a Tuesday, because they're going to put you on the Saturday. So you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Like they're going to spread it out. Whereas, with baseball, with these guys playing 3 days in a row, sometimes more than that. Yeah, sometimes these start times are a little bit questionable, and I absolutely get your point. Like it does seem to be, for the most part, not all the time, obviously, but for the most part, these early games, or these ones that are irregularly scheduled.
Yeah, they're
like you
ugly.
Said, they're not the best for gambling purposes.
Right.
When we're wanting a lot of hits. Great if you're someone that takes the under.
For sure.
Maybe that's something we could start looking at, these early games and the unders. But
definitely pay attention to who's playing Sunday.
Yeah.
Pay attention to who's playing Sunday, who has a game Monday. You don't have to bet every game. And then try to pick, a couple games that you do think, have that potential, and kind of just stick with those. But you don't ever want to go all in. Don't kill your bankroll going for one game that you're just cemented. You're just so confident that it's going to be, a shootout, yada, yada, yada. And just, you want to be smart. It's the long game. You're not going to get rich overnight. Everything's not a viral tweet. So.
No, for sure. Anything else? Anything in particular? Anyone in particular that you think is, like you said, you mentioned Santander. He was hot. And then all of a sudden just kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
Anyone that you think could go on a run? Who's got the, I know we don't at this point know the matchups throughout the whole weekend yet, but anyone that stands out to you as someone that could go in those 3 games, who are you looking at, like, that could hit home runs in 2 out of the 3 or something like that?
Yeah, I think Kyle Schwarber is always a good home run bet. I wouldn't say 2 out of 3 just because of how inconsistent he is at the plate. He swings at everything, but Nick Castellanos is very hot right now. So is Brandon Marsh. Brandon Marsh had a 2 home run game earlier in the week. He's been very, very good at the plate. He's always right around 300 hitter. So I love those guys. Lane Thomas has been on a heater for the Nationals. It seems like he's hitting a home run every other day. Texas is probably one of the hardest to kind of read right now because of how deep their lineup is, and you don't really know how they're going to kind of piece it together with their manager. But Corey Seager's been on fire. Nathaniel Lowe, Ezekiel Duran's been very good to us. And Jonah Heim is kind of cooling off a little bit, but he's still been consistent. And then the Red Sox, Justin Turner has seemed to gotten really hot as of late. The last like 3 weeks, he's been pretty good. And then Alex Verdugo is always a guy that I rely on. So there'll be plenty of consistent players for sure.
Sounds good. But again, as always, if you want to know the bets that DJ is actually playing this weekend, join us on Twitter at PW_housemoney. Join the Discord, jump in there. Or, like we said, you can join the Toilets to Titles team and become part of the Title Tribe. Make sure to check out the Patreon. $1.50 per month. Base level gets you entry into the Gilded chat. We mentioned it at the start of the show. We have the channel in there as well. There'll be some bets in there, some prize picks, plays over the weekend, I'm sure. And again, that gets you potentially entry into Frankenstank, which is probably, if you play fantasy football, one of the funnest, definitely like the most strategic fantasy football tournaments I've ever played in. And DJ's dived in this year and he'll be playing in that as well. So there's space in our division. If you're interested in playing against us in fantasy football, then give us a shout, let us know, and we'll make sure that we get you in there. But yeah, if you've read through some of the teams that I've put in here that I want to talk about now, and yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment, right? So one thing I learned last weekend, biggest takeaway, and I've said it before on the show, away teams in the MLS. I've questioned it before. I will never question it again. The books favor the home teams, and there's a reason. Those three, I stand behind that bet that I made last week, those three away teams to score 2+ goals each. I thought it was a great bet. Thought it had obviously a great shot. I don't put things out there that I think aren't going to hit.
Right.
And I sat there and I just watched it, and 2-0, 3-0 at half, 3-0 down at half time, 4-0, 2-0 down, 3-0. And I'm like, why can't these teams travel? What, I mean? Why are you so good at home and terrible on the road? I get it. I get why you would be better at home than you are on the road, but the disproportion of how different it is. So this week I've literally just been looking at home teams, which teams are great at home. And first one out the gate, 7:30 Saturday night, Columbus Crew at home to New York Red Bulls. Columbus Crew have scored in 14 straight home games. They've scored 2+ in the last 5. They've scored 13 total goals in their last 5 home games. And they've scored 10 in the last 5 head-to-heads against the Red Bulls in Ohio. And you know that I think the Red Bulls are just trash. They won at the weekend, but for the most part, especially on the road, right? Especially on the road, I just this game just has Columbus win, on it for me. And the team total, Columbus team total over 1.5 is as close to even money as you can get. So -102 for them to score twice. I will play some of these guys. The team totals, I always take the over 1.5 as the kind of standard line. And then I will push some of these guys to over 2.5 just because we've seen a lot of teams scoring 3 goals at home in these games, and the value on those is incredible. So you just jump for that extra goal for Columbus, jump up to +340 for them to score the third. So that's game one. The second game that I really love, and this is the one where I have a love-hate relationship with FC Cincinnati.
No, you don't say?
I feel like I pick them every week.
We do pick them every week.
And last week, again, they were away from home and they completely screwed me. But here you go. Here's the stats. This is why I picked them. They've won every home game that they have played in 2023. Every home game. That's 14 straight games.
You know what I'm going to say? You know what I'm going to say?
Go on.
They're due.
Yeah, they are.
They are due.
Yeah, you're right. But I don't play.
But not this Saturday, baby. Not this Saturday.
No,
we're going 15.
I don't play the streak's going to end. I don't bet against the streak ending. I keep riding the streak until it ends. It's going to end at some point. Obviously, they're gonna drop points, but that's not this Saturday. Not at home to New England Revolution. They've scored 13 goals in their last 5. They've scored 3+ goals in 4 of those. These are home games again. We're talking about home games here, right? Because again, I'm focusing in on those home teams. And again, similar thing, -106 for them to score 2 goals. I think is great value. And the double up there for Cincinnati and Columbus, both to score twice at +284.
Love that.
Absolutely love that. Yeah.
Love that.
And again, a similar line, +320 for them to score 3. And like I say, they've done it in 4 out of their last 5 home games. So